Rising Against creates another good thread, titled The Mystery of Operation Blackjack. And before he begins, he gives credit to Ellen 12. Operation Blackjack. I'm going to try and sum it up quickly. But for those who don't know, it was a fictitious story created in a British newspaper named The Telegraph. And this story is a set of images that tells the story. I'm going to try to explain it to you a little bit better than the set of images. The date, June 20th. The time, 2 p.m. A warning is issued by the MI5 to the UK government that there is an imminent terrorist attack. The MI5 is quoted as saying, "A coalition of homegrown extremists have the means to carry out a biological, chemical, or nuclear attack in one of the main population centers." The next day, June 21st, at noon, UK's Prime Minister makes a statement that the threat level is raised to critical. 2 hours later, at 2 p.m. London time, police and security forces raid known militants. Panic buying leaves store shelves empty, and gas pumps run dry all across Britain. All while unknown extremists enter a lock-up garage in southeast London and put a package in a white van. And then June 22nd arrives, and the unknown white van is parked near Victoria, London, which it goes unnoticed. It's 8 a.m. and an airline passenger flying above London snaps a picture and is what will come to be known the last picture of London, as people knew it. 8:03 London time. The bomb is detonated and the nuclear blast can be seen for miles. At the same time, 6 North American cities experience similar attacks in New York, Washington, Toronto, Mexico City, Portland, and Los Angeles. The Department of Homeland Security releases an emergency transmission stating, "Stay at home and await further instructions." A week later, the smoke can still be seen rising into the atmosphere, and the cities are left in ruins as a new country emerges as the UNA, the Union of North America. The government moves quickly to restore order and punish the masterminds behind the June 22nd attacks, setting up the new capital in Denver, Colorado, which, if you didn't know it, is where a massive top-secret facility is under DIA, Denver International Airport. The armed forces of the UNA begin to immediately execute operations against the nations who planned and carried out these acts of infamy, specifically targeting Iran, Syria, and China. I guess that tells you who our enemies are. The war is quick and decisive. The unelected new president issues a new constitution and declares martial law. As the UNA secures our homeland, our debts are forgiven, and the country is reopened for business. The Emergency Contingencies Act institutes precautionary measures with immediate effect. All citizens must always carry their UNA biometric identification card. All citizens must arrange with their current health provider to receive a one-time vaccine against any chemical or biological agents, and steps are taken to monitor and prevent unpatriotic abuse of digital communications. Sounds to me like life with SOPA. All journalists are required to contact and register with the DHSO, the Department of Homeland Security and Oversight, to get a license if they publish any material for consumption by a third party. Despite the crackdown and ban on public demonstrations, the number of protests grow and old flags are flown. Entire cities erupt in violence as all hell breaks loose. And the biggest lie in the history of the world emerges, as the nukes were found out to be made by the UNA, proving that this government is corrupt and illegitimate. This false flag brings up the idea that fear is being used to manipulate its citizens into creating a new country, a new currency, and a much more stricter form of control. And past events may make one believe that this is a pre-warning for what's to come. Or is it? And for example, Operation Northwoods. In 1962, the CIA proposed to commit acts of terror in the US and elsewhere in hopes of implicating the Cuban government. The Lone Gunman TV show that aired months before September 11th and told the story of hijacked planes flying above New York City headed to the Twin Towers. The 7/7 prediction, where a broadcast featured a fictional terror attack 1 year earlier that was eerily similar to the bus bombings in London on July 7, 2005. And there is a belief out there that Hollywood is not predicting events, but warning or gloating in some way. And Operation Blackjack has been taken very seriously given the severe nature of the images being shown. But many believe that 2011 was the year it was to happen. And the fact that Osama bin Laden was killed was the one event that needed to happen to set everything else in motion. A week before bin Laden's death, news sources began releasing a story that there'd be a nuclear hailstorm if bin Laden was ever captured or killed. The information came from a detainee by the name of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, which has been known to give a lot of false information. Okay, ATS, do you seriously believe our government would harm its citizens to ensure its long-term stability? Okay, so what does ATS membership have to say about it? Lightspeed Driver says, I don't know about predictions, but it seems to me kind of like an idea insertion thing. Colby Force responds, the whole 2012 doomsday distraction could be used as an excuse. Random Name writes, wiping out New York would destroy the global economy and the financial sector. It doesn't make sense to shoot yourself in the foot. Darkest 4 writes, it's fiction. It's a story. I wish the subject would die already. Lone Gurkha says, it's a known fact that the US, Canada, and Mexico are working behind the scenes to form a union of North America. Jizzy420 says, ah, shoot, that sucks. I don't want to live in Toronto anymore. White Devil 013 writes, it's naive to think that in this day and age, anything that happens wasn't allowed to happen. You smell me? So, what do you think Operation Blackjack is? And why is it here? It does seem very well detailed, but again, it was already supposed to happen. So click that link and tell us what you think. Thanks for watching this special report on Operation Blackjack. And thank you, Rising Against, and Alan12, and catch me on Twitter for answers to more questions. And if I'm not tied up, then I'll respond to you. Thanks for watching. This is Brian with ATS Recap, signing off.